Good morning, good morning. We are back in our balance from yesterday after a flip below, which led to a downside leg into our previous day value low and POC, right? And we got a pop. That held as supportive, and then we've pushed back up into our top of balance. I just don't really know if we're gonna get a ton of movement here. We'll see. It seems like the AM session is just not it right now. A little look above, good bounce on RTY. This is our reaction off of that so far. Watching to see if we have a seller here. This is where I'd like to see us flip. We're gonna go higher. Appreciate it, Surf. Yeah, I'm not feeling great. Which is, it's a good week to be sick, seeing as it's a short week, and short weeks are the worst. So I'm not feeling like I'm missing it too much, but yeah, not feeling great. It is really cold here. Really, really cold. Um, what I was saying is that we're just back into yesterday's balance. We look below. It seems like most of our moves are happening in the second half of our session, which I will not be here for because I'm not doing that. It just is what it is. Either we're getting opportunity or we're not. Not spending my entire day here for a potential trade in the afternoon. But it does seem like our movement is happening in the second half of the day, with the first half of the day being primarily accumulation. We have rotated back through most of our AM chop from yesterday, and we are now attempting our highs once again. We came back down into our lows, found it supportive off of this morning's PVZ on the recovery, rotated back through, held our 300, which was our mid from yesterday, which we were playing around, and then have rotated back up above our 70, which is where we were looking for longs yesterday as well, off of this 40 to 70 off of the flip. So we are here. We have now just rotated up into our 400, which is what we were playing off of yesterday, off of the flip of our 70s into our 400. This is the same range, same everything. So let's see what they do. See if sell side still sits up here into this 400. If we can get, if we can start to build up here, maybe we get something else. But again, it just feels like we're still respecting that range from yesterday. So we'll see. I'd like to be able to build here, ideally. Is there any way we can like clean this up a bit? These levels are just so gross, man. Yeah, okay. Let's see what we can do. Good trend so far. Good breakout. See if we can get some continuation, build above these highs from 430. That'll be a bit more convincing. Oh, it's so cold.
US stocks extend gains, Nasdaq up 1%.
Liquidity is still about half of what I want it to be. Dumb, which is a little annoying. Offer sitting at 450 on NQ.
The S&P 500 gain reaches 1%, up most intraday since December 18th. Speaking at Davos, Sachs says Trump wants single federal framework for AI regulation. Sachs says a patchwork of AI rules in the US is threat to innovation.
Let's see if we find a bid here at this like 420, 430 on NQ just for this uptrend to continue. We've got a buyer at like 423 that showed size on the last attempt. So as we push back down into it, just watching to see if we can find that bid here again. We can see them sitting on the bid at 435 right now. Seeing a bit of a reaction so far. So many ads on Discord now, man. What is this? It's like I don't pay for Discord. Are you gonna keep giving me ads? Like, why do I even have ads on mobile now? That's crazy. I've been paying for Nitro since Discord existed. Uh, 30 points so far off of our 20 to 30 hold on NQ, pushing up into our 460. This is where the offer sits. Want you to see if we get more. Taking off one risk here. I've got one contract left. Gotta get over 470 for anything more. Supply sitting there. Retesting our supply here again. Still holding higher lows. 15 seconds until new 15s into our supply. Price above POC so far on our current 15-minute candle. Let's see if we can continue to open above and bid off of it, or if we're going to see some sort of shift. Open of our new 15. Holding so far on both ES and an NQ. Yeah, it's called, it's a trend. Yep. $40.
Denmark's foreign minister says Trump's ambition is intact.
Same. I only have one contract left though. Stop copying me, bud. Alright, I think we can, I don't know, probably head up to like here. I'll see, yeah, you're not wrong. I just want you to make money, man. It's 70 degrees in my house and I'm shivering. Like, what's wrong with me? Like, I can't stop shivering. Ugh, it's the worst.
Denmark's foreign minister says it will maintain the diplomatic track regarding Greenland.
Diplomatic. Mhm. At some point, the EU's got to be like, enough is enough. Like, we're now back into the no trade deals. We've gone full circle. The European Union has officially suspended trade deals with the US. As soon as the EU is like, hey, we no longer want your bonds, and then the US dollar goes out, that's when like World War III starts. Swear to God. How many of you watched the first episode of the new Game of Thrones?
Denmark's foreign minister
So
says
far, it
will
was
not
just Surf
negotiate to
yesterday.
compromise
Anyone
on
else
our
watch it?
fundamental principles.
On the list?
Trump's advisor Sachs says, I think the US is still in the lead in the AI race.
Offer sitting at 490, 400 contracts sitting up there in NQ. $300 contracts now at 490. We just hit actually 490 will basically be $1,000 per contract if we can get up there. Let's see what we can do. Offer sitting here at 490. The Knight of the Seven Kingdom, Hedge Knight Tale or whatever it's called. I just wanted to hear people's opinions. How many contracts did we take up though there? 480 at 480? Interesting. Egg. Yeah, it's funny.
This is according to a punch Podgepod report on X. They say the Supreme Court hasn't been super jazzed about the White House's arguments this morning, but this ongoing exchange with Kavanaugh is really something else. Again, this is about Fed's Cook. So again, Supreme Court not really super jazzed about the White House's arguments this morning.
Coming back up into our offer here, 325 contracts now at 490. Good hold of our previous supply, supportive. Continuation up so far, still just trending. Surely this offer moves. Or do I take profit into 490? It's interesting how much we've actually taken in up here. We've absorbed like 200, 700, 800, almost 900 contracts up here so far.
AMD shares up 8.3%.
Regionals are going crazy today. They're continuing to absorb here into our 490 offer that we spotted. We're seeing the bid try to sustain here at 470, 460. It's just a bit two-sided until we decide what we want to do. Offer trying to step down here at 475, 180 contracts showing on DOM. So they've moved down from 490 to 480 now. So offer is trying to step down. We're seeing the bid step down into 463. Still very two-sided. Watching as we push down into that that liquidity at 460 and what happens. Still very two-sided. Very clear absorption above into our 490, 480. But again, buyer is still sustaining higher lows. POC is attempting to shift up here on NQ and RTY.
The White House posts a study on AI and the impact on the US economy.
Still very two-sided here on A15s, no change. POC is attempting to shift, like I said before. Offers at this 475 to 490. That is currently where that seller is sitting.
So from the study that the White House has put out, they've got one line that says, according to the studies produced a broad range of estimates, AI could increase GDP by 1% up to more than 45%.
We've got NVIDIA attempting to 3-bar on the 5. Just waiting on Russell to find this low for next leg, or watching for our next obvious offer shift down on NQ. This buyer is a bit offsides at 470. We're continuing to still absorb into this 460 as we push down. The bid is pretty clear still. I think ES looks by far the worst. We have to watch to see what happens into this 900.
Trump is to meet NATO chief Rutte later today at Davos.
Good hold of our pivot so far in PSV with that candle coming back up to our offer here is 475. Watch to see if sell side sits here. This is where they've been absorbing 75 to 90. Need to break this downtrend. Need to see RTY show this interest. Again, I think NVIDIA looks fine, which can help carry the market up with this potential, structural build out here.
Trump is to address business leaders at Davos before the Rutte meeting.
But I'd like to see Russell show that interest as well, so that we can both get these to continue up trend-wise. That'd be solid. The next pop. If offer wants to continue to absorb here into 475, 490, it's going to be a bit tough. But again, I feel like NVIDIA looks good. We just need Russell to find this low. This 475 offer is no joke. Still waiting for Russell to find a low. NVIDIA looks good still. We're watching like 94 on RTY for that low to be found. Just as we push back down into this POC. Come on, RTY, show us anything.
So we do have a video that we're going to put out on the feed of Trump with business leaders. It hasn't started yet, but
Great.
the live link will get on the feed for you.
Just what we need.
15 Tesla shares up 2.2%.
This is where we want to see that RTY bounce, ideally. This is our 94. See if we can find this low. Good bounce so far off of just even the slightest hold of our lows on RTY. NQ still holding POC, no change. Coming back up into our offer here at 75 to 90.
Again, it's not started yet, but it's there for you to watch.
Again, sell side is sitting here, no change. Need to see Russell break downtrend, and we need to see a very clear interest over this offer on NQ for us to feel comfortable. If we're going to get this secondary leg, that would be great. And if we can do this, then I'd be looking for our pop into like 550. If we can flip this clear absorption that we're seeing. We want to see RTY again, like find a low here ideally, and then show interest. If not, then we're going to have to come back down to VWAP at 89. Which means more chop while we wait. We just hit $1,000 a contract on our runner. Offer now sitting at 500 on NQ. Let's see if we can flip this supply that's here. As you can see, NVIDIA was able to hold that structure and rotate up. We found our bounce here on RTY so far at our 94, just like we talked about. We're watching to see if we can get anything more now. I'd like to be able to see a secondary buyer step in here, flipping this supply into our bid. If it's going to allow for that breakout. Nothing yet. Offer still sitting at 490. Into our offer here on ES at 905 to 909. Need to break these downtrends across the board. But so far, relief was found where we wanted. We've got 50 seconds until new 15s. I am freezing. Jeez. My fever's coming back. New 15's opening now. Flat POCs on NQ. ES holding downtrend so far. No break of our downtrend on RTY or ES, holding our offer. Coming back down to our lows, watching to see our reaction. Offer very clearly still sitting at NQ 490, ES 905s. RTY flat, no change. The only way that we get something new on NQ is if the offer holds into like 470, 475 here on this retest. If they hold this
T-Bow
as sell,
volatility
then
index
we'll get one more leg
decreased as
down.
stocks rebound, down 2.61 points at 17.48. As a reminder, before 8 o'clock, around 8 o'clock in the morning, he was around 20.
Reoffering again, same place, same low, same everything. Just chopping. This is either going to be a crazy curl over where this offer at our 490 continues to hold and then we start to melt down off of a failure to build out here, right? Which will result in a need to come back down to fix some of this poor structure that we just built out, or failed to build out, really. Which will result in a need to like go for a liquidity low before we can continue on our way. All right, so we're just watching to see if this curls or if we just build here. I don't have an answer for you yet. I've identified the seller. We identified the seller and where they were before we even got there. And now we're holding it. Now we gotta wait. On the higher time frame, none of this is worrying so far, but it could easily turn into something that needs a further pullback if we continue to fail here. A lack of interest above means that we're going to have to come down lower first before we can go higher. Right? If no one is interested in buying higher, that means that they need to buy lower first before we can then go higher. If there is no desire for higher prices, then we will need to fill more people at a lower price until we create enough FOMO in the market to then trade at a higher price. You know, got to create the interest, show the demand. Right now, all we've got is a fat supply above. RTY continuing to lead down. Offer is the clearest on ES. They're still showing tremendous size up at those highs. There's 1,000 contracts trading at 906 on the offer there. They are not being subtle with their threat.
Toyota and other Japanese automakers are to share chip data as supply risks grow. That's according to Nikkei.
Almost to view up here on Russell off of the failure to sustain at R94. This is our next area of pullback to look for. NQ sideways, no change, still just two-sided, very clear seller above.
From the Nikkei article, around 20 suppliers, including Japan's Renesas Electronics and Arom, Germany's Infineon Technologies, are expected to participate. And Toyota and other Japanese automakers are to share chip data as supply risks grow.
Into our view up now on RTY. NQ still holding our lows, no change.
And we have also posted out the article on the feed for you to read through.
Here's the article that they just posted, but without a paywall.
EU is expected to probe Netflix and Paramount bids in parallel. So Warner Bros. Suitors face rare head-to-head battle for EU nod.
That show was the greatest as a kid. What show? Oh, it's just what XY just posted, the how it's made. Nah. These guys talking about automakers. Lows continuing to hold, no change on NQ. RTY continuing to build at our POC, no change. Again, higher time frame uptrend is still intact. We are just chopping back to our 75 to 90 offer on NQ, no change. I don't expect the seller to just disappear. Probably still sitting here into our 75 to 90, I would assume, until Trump starts yapping. We're probably chopping. We'll see. Offer at 75s. Offer at 75 held, rotating back down to our original entry. I have a question for you. If you had to put a number out there, what is an average number of trades you end up taking per day or per session? And is there a lot of factors involved? But if you had, pick a number, how many do you think? It really depends, man. If the action is good
Just a heads up, the video
and we're
has now
balancing,
started from the Hill video.
then I'll
where
trade a
Trump is
lot.
meeting with business leaders in Davos. Remember, the video is on the feed for you to watch.
Because like the range is known and I'll just play the edges over and over again. So like my average amount of trades goes up quite a bit. So I'd say on a balance day, we end up taking, you know, maybe I mean, it can be anywhere between 10 to 50 trades.
So just
you know, on a balance day.
This is not a meeting with business leaders. It's a meeting with the Egyptians at the moment.
On a trend day, it's usually like 3 setups with potentials for you know, higher low entries where we'll add to a position. So I don't know if those count. Where like we have a good initial trade and then we try to add to that position. So it probably ends up being around, you know, 6 or 7, I'd say. I don't know. I mean, it really depends on the day. I don't limit myself to the amount of trades, but if we're in a position that continues to hold, I'll just stay in that position all day. There's no reason to exit. But if I feel like there's opportunity and that opportunity is better spent in the opposite direction, I'll counter trend scalp. I'll close my position and then play the opposite direction if I feel like we're gonna chop for, you know, 2 hours. Like when we spotted this curl over, is it worth me staying in my position?
Denmark rejects Trump demand to negotiate takeover of Greenland.
If we know what's going to happen, probably not, right? So then we can go the opposite direction, or we can exit and wait for another and reevaluate. Like, there's no reason to let my position come back to break even if we know what's going to happen. So we'll just take a different trade. It just really depends. It doesn't. I just let price dictate what we're gonna do. I don't know. I've never really thought about the amount of trades that I'm taking. If the setup is there and the opportunity is given, then I play the opportunity. The amount of something means literally nothing. Yeah, I don't know. Spit is just resting at 410 here. They just took that liquidity. Like, can we just save the Trump meetings for not during market hours, please? Like, this guy nukes the market every time, I swear. Such a waste of my time. I'm just watching for us to come back down to 360. Should find our bounce there. That's a full structural fill, just like we talked about, as ES comes down
Just
into
keep an eye
previous
on
day
the
value
S&P
high.
500. Now seeing some downside movement. The dollar not really seeing so much movement here at the moment, but just a bit more on the S&P 500. Again, the only headline that we have is Denmark rejecting Trump demand to negotiate the takeover of Greenland.
Yeah, no shit. What is this lineup? Why are they positioned like that? I expect the bid to try to be here again, just into this 340, 360 into our top balance from yesterday. Now that we've pulled back after fixing structure, this is where we're watching to see if our bid sits. This is ES into our value low, as well as RTY into our value low, and NQ at our pivot here at previous day value high. See if we can find a bid here, get back up. We've again just did exactly what we talked about, which is pull back off of seeing and spotting that seller above, and then coming back down to our previous structure after not being able to succeed on the hold of anything higher. So let's see what we do. If we pop back down below 40s, then we'll play the previous balance and play this through. If not, then this is where I expect buyers to try to sit. Trump is talking, so please be careful. Understand that if this flips, this 40 to 60, then we're probably going to have to do a full range retrace through our balance. And then we'll rotate back down to our 15-minute VWAP, which would, be something like this, into this liquidity before we then go higher. Watch for right side of V. Don't be preemptive. It's a seller in control of the market, clearly. Just wait. Once we see it, we'll play the higher low. Or you play the reoffer and you play the trend down, right? Like it's either one. Again, Trump is speaking. I guess it's just a reversion. Well, if we can't go higher, then we go down lower first before we can go higher. Yeah? There's a very clear seller in both ES and NQ that we spotted. Like, what are we going to do if we can't get above them? We're going to go back down to where there's clearly demand. There's literally no other choice. Is this playable? Not really. The only thing that we can play off of is the 75 that I said, right? Like that's literally it. So the 75 reoffer, offer was able to hold, no look above. 75 to 90 held, rotation down, and then we get a continuation down. Other than that, you can try to play off of this, right? This is our top of balance, trying to hold for this rotation through, like we just talked about. Those are the only two trades that I see. Our very clearly spotted offer, again, at 75 to 90. And now we're trying at this top of balance here at our 40 to 60. Other than that, I don't see any opportunities. Have we made a right side of V? Have we seen any sort of interest above? No. So play your pivots that are known. Or don't play anything at all. Define your risk.
That concludes Trump's comments for now. The video is still up on the feed, of course, when he does start speaking again. Trump just reiterates that military is not on the table for Greenland. Saying that that will not be necessary. So again, military is not on the table in Greenland. That will not be necessary. People will use their best judgment on Greenland.
Into our 40 to 60 here again. Trump has now ended his remarks. We're watching to see if offer holds previous day value high here on NQ, which is again at our 340. If we hold this 340, 360, we should have one more leg down into our 15-minute VWAP, like we talked about. We're just watching. This is the mid of our range. Our VWAP is down here at our 50-60 area, so we'll watch to see how liquidity works. Again, this is only if this area fails and then we rotate through. We'd expect then our offer to head down here for the full reversion trade. Once we come down into here, then we can figure out what we want to do. If this area holds our mid of our balance from yesterday, then we'll look for the rotation back above and the holds and then the flip. Again, I don't know what else to say other than play off of our 40 to 60. That's already given you an opportunity. Twice. If we flip this, then again, we have one more leg down. We'll watch for reoffer, see if that opportunity comes. Needs to be a pretty clear offer here as we flip down for that rotation into our 15-minute VWAP if it's going to happen. We are now testing the middle of our balance to watch to see if it comes up, if our offer is willing to lower here for that rotation through, or if we're going to absorb. You can see sell side sweep. We turn off drawings so you can see where that seller is, where we have that stacked imbalance. We're watching to see if they can hold that on retest for a lower high for one more leg down into this liquidity down here into our 50-60 area. RTY is still in a downtrend and continuing to push. Same type of setup is happening on ES as well, but ES is already at our 15-minute VWAP. This is NVIDIA testing our IB high. I do not know how volatile it's going to be as we come down into this low. I have zero clue. So we'll see. This is just where we've got liquidity resting as we come down into this. We tagged right into our 15-minute VWAP and this liquidity below, where we're watching to see if we have one more leg down after a bit of a retrace after this. I mean, I don't really expect anything here. We're watching to see if we have one more leg. RTY retesting our PVZ and ETH high, watching to see our offer sits here. As long as I think like 320 is holding, makes sense for a lower high. Let's see what we do. We're still holding our downtrend POC wise from previous candle. It's not really a big deal. Still holding our stacked rebid reversal line, right? Like downtrend
European
is still
gas
intact.
benchmark tops 40 euros per megawatt hour for the first time since June. Also, just a heads up, White House Economic Advisor Hassett speaking. Hassett says we might be looking at 2% GDP quarters. Excuse me. We might be looking at 2 GDP quarters north of 5%. And Hassett says Trump is disrupting an order that must be disrupted. So Hassett currently speaking on Bloomberg TV. We'll get the video out for you shortly. We have posted out the video where Hassad is speaking.
Another opportunity to risk off as we push down off of our offer, holding a lower high, continuing on our merry way to
The
the bottom
Supreme
of our
Court
balance.
appears likely to deny Trump's request to immediately fire Fed's cook. So again,
I've taken off 2/3 of my size as we push into our low balance following our plan. 3 opportunities given, playing off our 75 to 90, off our 40 to 60, and then off of our 300 to 320. Now into target, into our 230, 260, where I expect the bid to be found. 3 opportunities. Hopefully you played one of them.
Hassad says, I don't think we're pushing our allies close to China.
That's a crazy take. What's up, Sauce?
Hassad says, we expect to reduce the deficit more over the next year. Hassad says, Fed members seem to want an opinion on everything.
Just hold runners as we continue our downtrend, just like we were continuing our uptrend. As long as RTY and ES and NQ are continuing to push down, then
initial headlines in the morning
continue to hold.
Trump talking about
I'm continuing to risk off as we push into this low.
And then you had a headline just before it started moving down of Denmark rejecting talks with the US over Greenland.
Just let
So
your
a reversal of the initial move.
God, shut up.
And the Danish comment earlier on.
Just let your trade stop out, right? Like it's a downtrend. So just until we invalidate, like just keep being in that trade. That's literally it. Again, 3 opportunities have been given. We've traded through the entire balance. We talked about what was going to happen, where we would go if we held this top edge. We rotated to that target. We are now at said target. What happens from here? We don't know yet, right? I'd like us to hold, but if the opportunity presents itself, we'll get another rotation off of this edge, and then we'll rotate down, allowing for us to retest our opening price action from the day. We'll see if we get that opportunity or if we continue to maintain here and then we rotate back up into our balance. But this is now played out. I don't know what else to say. Hopefully some of you are trading. It's always odd when we get very quiet after talking about moves that are playing and playing to a T. You don't have to apologize. It's just like, what are we doing? Like, why are we sitting in chat if we're not going to trade it? You guys want to trade shitty price action, but then when opportunities present themselves, everyone disappears. Blows my mind.
Asset says big housing policy announcement is coming soon. Asset says Trump is in Davos to set the record straight with data. That concludes Hassett's remarks on Bloomberg TV.
Oh, I think my dog just had an accident. I'll be right back. All right, and we continue down. Like I said before, just move your stops down. Nothing is invalidated about our trend. We are continuing downwards. We have flipped VWAP. See if we get a solid reoffer into this 330, 345 area. We want to see the offer. Ideally, hold this pretty clearly on retest here. If we're going to get anything more. Sorry, I think I said 330. I meant 230 to 245. Very clear hold at 230. You're playing off of that as your edge. It's a great scalp risk off. Just move your stops down or keep a break even. Regardless, trade is 1-to-1 profitable now. Yeah, no problem. Sorry, I'm like Debbie Downer. I'm just sick, and I want people to make money, and I'm annoyed. Just like I'm here, and I'd rather be in bed. But I hope you have a good day, bro. Yeah, it's what I'm saying though. Is like people will sit here on a bad PA day with me telling you it's bad PA the entirety of the day, but then when we have good action, everyone's gone because they've lost their accounts or they've like are completely like they've like their mental has already been blown up because they wasted all of their money and their emotion, right? All of they're already done. They're emptied out. And it's like, all right, well, now when the opportunity is actually presented, you've got nothing to show for it. It just feels bad, man. Like, if you're not gonna be here to listen, then why are you here? We should head down to 160, I think, if this 330 continues to hold. Just into that PVC low. We'll see. Oh, excuse me. This is ES into our 30-second opening range. I'm not going to be confident in ES getting a ton of more movement until we can flip below this 47. Once we do that, then we'll have an opportunity to trade down to like 830, 834 into this liquidity. If we can flip this 30-second opening range, make it resistant. Then we'll come back down to this VPOC, which is previous day POC. All right, that's what we'd be targeting if we can flip this. Until then, we expect the bid to try to defend this and then rotate up like so. So let's just watch to see what they do here. Again, we need to flip 47s, then hold offer for more downside, or we expect them to try to sit here. I've taken off a little bit more from our 30 into our 190. Watching to see what happens now. Just moving stops down on my runners. Again, I think we probably head to that 160. Just into a PVC here. RTY continuing down, watching our ES push through our for our 47, watching to see if we can reoffer it and hold it. If we can, then we should have one more leg down for this rotation. There's target into 160. You can either take some profit or just move your stops down. Do you? Very clear trend still. just into our target now. Next level would be 130 to 100, which is previous day value low to POC, which makes sense if we don't see a strong bounce here at 160. RTY continuing to fall. ES below our 47s. We'll watch for a reoffer of that for an opportunity. Or if not, then again, we're probably just going to head down to that VPOC down there, like pathing suggests. I'd like to see an opportunity to get into this trade if we're going to. Same thing with on NQ. I'd like to be able to add to this position. I just have 2 runners left from our 230. $50 until doing 15s. I'm hoping for that opportunity to be given to us without us just fully filling this into our new 15s. If it does, it is what it is. We're already in the trade. It's okay. But if we can get an opportunity on a reoffer on the open of our new 15 to give us the ability to add to our position and lower our average for that next target, that'd be a wonderful. $10. Let's watch our offer into 43 to 47 on ES as we come back up into our new 15s, giving us a potential opportunity here to add. Holding our imbalance off of our previous candle into new 15, giving you an opportunity already profitable off of that 43. See if we can continue down now, or if we're going to need to test into that area a little bit more. Retesting our liquidity pocket here again, seeing if supply can hold it. We'd ideally like this 180 to continue to maintain if we're going to go down further. If not, then we'll probably have to retest the full push into 210 here if 180 doesn't hold, would be my guess. So we'll come back up to POC if this 180 doesn't hold. That'd be my guess if we flip 180. Just come back up to like 210. 230. Retesting our 30-second opening range low here on ES. Again, if we rebid, if we bid this 180 now, I'd expect us to come up to about 210 on NQ, back into this larger seller here off of our flip before we head down fully. Just makes sense, especially with ES finding a bit more of a bid. Just come back up to retest POCs of our previous candles off sell side. No invalidation, just a retrace of structure. We can see that they're retesting the 180 as a potential bid. If you're playing off of 180, 210 is your first risk off. This is where we expect sell side to try to be. They need to see a very clear flip of this, or this is where they will reoffer a trap, and then we'll look back below our 160, 180, and then go for another leg down. But regardless, very clear flip of offer here off of our 180. Again, first risk off here. We'll watch to see if we now trap and then continue down, or if that's all we get. But immediate offer into our 210 liquidity. Remember, this is just us retesting our POC of our last sell, right? POC retest on both ES and on NQ off of the failure to create a clear lower and concise lower high, right? So now we are retesting our POCs of our previous candles, coming back up to where the most volume was traded on said candles, seeing as sell side was unable to put in a very clear lower high. So of course we'll come back up to that level. Now that we're there, we watch to see if we flip these areas and start to have a potential right side of V trade on our hands, or if it's just a reoffer and then a trend down with no change. You're looking for the bid to try to be active here. That's like 180, 165 area. If this flips, then we'll trap into these highs, and then we'll look for the reoffer below or a continuation down potential. So again, you are looking to see if the bid can now sustain above, holding this. Now that we have offered into our 210, are we going to trap here and then offer back below, trapping these traders above? Or are we going to be able to sustain a bid and start to rotate up off of this? Just watching our risk. We went right to our target off of the flip, exactly where we thought we would go. Now, again, we're watching to see who's in control here short term. ES is attempting to hold our 47, which is our opening range low. If we can start to build above 54, that it would be above our POC of our previous candle, and we would look for that to then sustain for a potential upside move. And that would rotate up to our value edge here at 61s, like we have passed. Retesting our 210 from our hold of our 180, 165. No change. Watching to see what happens here on retest. This is a great first risk off. Watch to see if we can develop and push. You are playing off of our 180, 165 hold. We have no confirmation of right side of V as of yet. Right now, it is just a consolidation at our lows, below our VWAP, and below our structure. If we can flip back into our structure, then we'll have a great opportunity with a very small risk that we are playing off of the recovery of our structural hold. Right? Same thing on ES, watching to see if we can hold here off of the flip. Remember, this is just coming back up to our original short at our 230. Until we can flip back over our 230 liquidity, this 230 to 45-ish area, right? Like this is currently our low, a balance that we need to flip back above for anything real. Where this is just a reoffer of our known seller off of a failure to push lower, right? So this is just a reversion back up to our value edge. And now we're watching to see if there's an opportunity for a right side of V on a recovery of our value, or if we're going to fail here. And now this is going to be our same seller as our previous opportunity, which we just played to the downside, right? So this is now where we're watching. We found that liquidity pocket at our 180. We understand that our seller is sitting here because we have brains and we knew that we just traded this previously. This is where our seller was last. We saw this opportunity. So why would we expect them to be anywhere else? We need to see this flip or the same opportunity is there, right? No break of downtrend. We need to see a flip and hold of this, or we expect this to be a reversion trade to our VWAP and to our bottom of balance, as well as our value low. And we expect the same seller to be sitting there because we haven't showed any sort of invalidation of the higher time frame structure. As we can see, we see an immediate seller at our 230 once again. We've done our full range retrace. Until we can flip over this, we expect that this is just a reversion and then a continuation, or a bear flag, whatever you want to call it. Right? In a balanced day, I know you trade the value edges, but do you trade the value high-low of the previous 15-minute candle inside the larger daily balance, or do you only wait for daily? I mean, I feel like I've just talked through my trade. I don't know. I don't just do one thing. I don't know, man. No, you don't need to apologize. I just don't know how to, like, I don't know. I wish I had more patience today, but I don't. I'm sorry. I'm like very sick. I'm just gonna continue to talk and continue to trade, and if you make money with me today, awesome. If not, I'm sorry. I can't do more than that today. I really apologize. How do you feel about their new protein bowl thing? Is it just a serving of chicken in a bowl? Chipotle for lunch is crazy, by the way. Yeah, I'd be a food and coma. That's so much midday. It's a serving of chicken in a bowl. Hell yeah. That's so dumb. Uh, New 15's opening here, 10 seconds. Some volatility stepping in here into our new 15s. Let's see if we flip this 180, 165 and reoffer it, trapping these guys at our value edge on retest of our 230 for a continuation down, or if we're going to just chop in between this 160, 180 and this 230, 260. For right now, we don't have a directional decision. All we know is that we're holding our value low as resistance as of right now, and our seller is still in control. If we can flip back over 260, I'll be much more confident that this is our low for the day. Until then, downtrend is still persistent. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through this once of where we are. We talked about identifying our seller at our 75 to 90, which led to our offer holding and this curling over, retesting the structure back to our top of balance, this being our balance. Yes. So we built no structure on the way up. It was just trend up, right? Higher low, higher low, higher low. No real building or accumulation. We then retraced this after a curl over once we met a strong seller who initiated on both ES and NQ. We then rotated back into our balance. The trading opportunity that was given was the reoffer of our 340 to 360 on the entry back into our balance. We expected a rotation back down into our lows here of our balance that we identified. This was the trading opportunity. We gave you the opportunity at this 300 to 320, as well as this 340, 360 on both of these attempts. And then our 230 is now our newest one. Why is this our newest one? Well, it is a hold of our balance low, just like we held our balance high as resistance. You now have a hold of our balance low as resistance. Not only is this our balance low, it is also our daily value low, our value, right? So this is where our value edge is on NQ. We are holding it on the offer. We don't expect any sort of shift of trend until we can flip back above this and start to build above our ETH high as well as our value edge here. Right now, we are continuing to maintain this buyer that we identified at this 180 to 160. If this is holding, we can chop here like so until we trap someone and then choose a direction. This does not mean that we've found a low of day. Have we found a higher low so far on the short term? Sure, right? And we're playing off of that. But understand that your offer is still sitting above where we took our short, this 230, and we are rotating in between these two participants until we can flip back above this and get back into our value. There's no reason to expect more. If we can get back into our balance our balance, then we can trade through said balance. Just like when we got back into our balance at on the top side, we rotated through our balance, right? So if we can get back in, we can expect this rotation through. Until then, it is fucking resistance, yes? Yes. Okay, thank you. Just want to make sure that we're all on the same page here. So we're just in a consolidation in an overall downtrend. We are chopping sideways. If we flip this, then we'll trap these guys, and then we'll continue to rotate down. If this holds here, your current risk is this 180 to 165. You can just play off of this with a flip, but understand that like our offer still sits above here, and there's nothing to do other than play either a rotation down in a trend because you're already in a trade, or you're playing a long scalp counter trend back into said offer from here for rotations back up into this pivot high, right? It is just balance right now. We haven't confirmed anything else other than that. Maybe on the new 15-minute candle, we can get something where we'll show interest here again, and then we'll make a higher low and build up on that POC. We just haven't seen it yet. But your risk right now is off of this 165, 180 area. If we can flip this, then we go up. If not, then nothing has changed. I like these pivots should be clear. If you have questions, please let me know. Balance has been identified. Does that help you, T-Full? That's about as much as I can do for you. Hopefully that explains my trading process today. All right, nice. What's up, Grotto? Brother, I don't watch football. I'm sorry. I think football is kind of dumb. I don't know if Roy watches football either, man. I'm not sure about that one. Do you guys not feel like you're just watching like ads when you watch a football game? That's how it feels to me. Like, it's really hard to like the sport when every 5 minutes is ads. Like, it's very hard to get into a sport when it's like that, you know? So I don't even know if I dislike football or if I just like the medium in which football is like put out there. It's just so many ads. Like zero gameplay. Coachella, dude, that's a miserable experience, Coachella. Oh, oh God. I'll be watching from YouTube, Gabriel. That's what I'll be doing, bud. Yeah, that's scary, man. You can die like that. All right, Trump's speaking again. Here to ruin our day. This audio is really bad. Holy. Davos, yeah. Davos Seaworth. thoughts on this? Female giants versus strongest dwarfs. Did you really just ask me thoughts on this? What do you want me to say? Thoughts on what? What do you want me to do? Thoughts on this is crazy. Ugh. Who do you think wins? Based off of that screenshot? I don't know what they're doing in the video. It depends. If it's like tug of war, then I expect the women to win because they have more mass. But if it's just like weightlifting, then I don't think it really matters. I'm not trying to click that video though, so that it's in my algorithm, because that whatever your feed is cursed. That video is for sure slop. Surely the dwarfs win. TED Talks and goodbye forever. Just like before, every bounce at 180 is just your first risk off into 210 until we either flip back over 60s or flip below 165 and then offer this as resistance. Just always take your first profit off into these highs, in my opinion. Secondary risk off, of course, is 230. Third risk off is 260 until we can flip. Yes. I don't know what your actual job title is, but I feel like it's pretty high that they do another round. Again, 210 is your first risk off if you're playing off of your 180, 165 risk. This just keeps the trade positive RR into our highs. Right, like if we're playing off of our lows here, we just want to make sure that we are risking off to make this trade free into first target. It's a good risk right there, with this being our secondary target in 230s, and then if we can flip our 60s, we should then be able to play for a runners up back into 340 for the balanced range rotation. But again, like this is just chop until we choose a direction above our 15-minute VWAP, which is this purple line at our 60 here. We can flip back above this and get back over our value edge and start to build. This looks great for continuation. We spotted this buyer very early on at our 165, 180. Again, this is our 230 seller. If we can flip above this, we're in a very great position for a rotation up. Until then, though, this is just a ranging chop. Again, a great risk off here into our 230, 260, and leave runners for continuation with our risk from 185, 165. No change. I mean, they're for sure going to do another round of layoffs. Everyone will. It just makes sense. But I don't know if you're going to go. Product manager, unless like your department's going, wouldn't you be safe? I don't really know. Yeah, I mean, I figured you'd be one of the later people to go. Are people playing off of this 180 or no? Okay. It's fine. I don't think, as of right now, there's no proof that we're going to get a continuation here, right? We got to flip over the 60 for anything more. So this is just top of where our seller should be trying to absorb. We'll see if we flip, but I don't think you're in that terrible of a position if you don't have a runner. Good job playing the full range. See if we can flip or if this is all we get. Again, this is us retesting VWAP as resistance for the first time. I'm gonna go to our higher time frame just so you can see what I'm looking at. Do you see how we were holding it as supportive and now we flipped it as resistance? So this is us retesting our bearish pivot here. This is our low of balance, as this is our top of balance, and then this is our mid of balance, our 300. This is the same range from yesterday. This is the same pathing. We're watching now to see if this is going to hold, and then we're going to get a continuation down, like so, or if we're going to be able to flip back above and then rotate through said balance. So this is what we're watching. We're watching to see if this pivot holds and if we can then continue down or not. But we identified a very nice risk here. Way off of, we've taken off most of our profit into this, and now we're leaving runners to see if we can get this flip to add this position above. If this POC sticks to this highs, and then we see a rotation back down, this will be a really gnarly trap outside of this range, right? And then we'll look for that secondary offer to step in below for that continuation down. So we'll see what happens. Again, just balance. ES holding our 30-second opening range low as well as our value low, rotating up into our 15-minute VWAP. Same thing with NQ into our 15-minute VWAP. Let's see if we flip. Just following our pathing and our risk profile. Nothing new. Everything we've talked about has played. Trump just said, sometimes we need a dictator. Love that. Offer at our 60s so far, watching to see if we can hold here, establish a bid for a rotation up to 300 for another 40 points, or if we're going to maintain the 60 offer. Looking for flags across the board at higher lows. News in 10 seconds. Retesting our opening range high. 60 offer held on NQ. No change, no build above. Watch for a reoffer into 230 if we're going to rotate down. Retesting our value edge here. I'm expecting one of two things to happen. Regardless of what's going to happen, we should at least see a retest of this edge. If sell side sits here, then I'd expect us to then rotate back down into our bow low. If we're going to hold here, I'd want to see us flip this and then show interest above almost immediately from this point at our value edge here from our previous highs at our 210. We'll see. I expected a retest of 230 regardless here. If we don't get it, then it's going to be a full range rotation back down with these guys trapped, and then we'll expect another bid here. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, nothing's invalidated in any of the things that we've talked about. 60 is continuing to maintain. No ability to push over our VWAP. I don't think that we take out lows yet. I think we retrace. Again, it's just balance, so we should expect our bid where it is. Without that higher retest at 230, I still want to see that tagged, honestly. So we'll see what happens. If we do flip this on first try, okay, we play it down. But I expect liquidity to try to be found here again, and then we'll look for a rotation up, a lower high to be played off to make sure that these guys are going to remain offsides, and then look for that rotation down. That's usually your best bet. So we'll see. Offer still held though. Now watching to see what we do here. So if this is going to go down, we expect our offer to ideally hold here into 185 and then continue down further. So if you're trying to play off of this, we're watching for that. If the bid gets back over 185, then I'd expect rotations back up through our balance with these guys trapped below. So just keep an eye on this 165, 185. If it plays the flip, if the flip holds, that's fine. That's our risk. But if we push back over 185, I expect full range rotation. So this right now is what you're looking at as your reoffer point. But if we get back over this, expect that we rotate back up and these guys get trapped on our look below. You should only be in short runners if you're playing off of the 260 to 230, right? Now we're watching to see if we get a secondary leg here, if we can flip our buyer to our seller. But it's not like initial positioning until we show more interest here. Because again, I think this is a potential trap. So it's just like a stay in runners from our top edge where we've already identified and now look to see if we can build below here. If we can hold this 185 and get back below our 160, then sure, right? But If again we build here and we fail to make new lows, then we should expect that this buyer is still present here and that these traders will be trapped below our 165 or rotations back up. That's my opinion. Into our first target here at 210s off the failure to look below 165 after the hold and recovery of our zone. No change in anything that we've talked about, following our pathing to a T, watching to see if we get a lower offer here. You should be at least half out of your position now. Watching for a full range rotation. Same as before, first target is 210, secondary target is 230. With that look below, we'll look to see if we can flip over our 360s this attempt, or if that is going to continue to maintain. It is balanced until proven otherwise, just like we talked about. Were you able to understand that failure? Right, like we know what we need to see on the sell side leg. So like if it doesn't happen, then we should expect rotations back through. It's just one of those. Right, so you might as well give yourself a smaller area of risk to play around, understanding where a secondary leg would be. So you have two opportunities, right? You have like when you're playing in balance, you always are going to have two opportunities. You have opportunity one on the re-entry back into our bow for the lower high, with this being your risk for the rotation through said balance. And then you have a secondary opportunity where we need to then hold our low, and this is your risk then for a secondary move down. What happens if we can't hold our low? Well, these guys are then trapped, just like these guys were trapped into our highs, right? So these guys now are trapped, and when we look back in, we now watch to see if we can hold this, because if this is now our risk, if these guys remain off sides, then where are we going to go? Well, we're going to rotate back up through, yeah? It's balance. So you play the higher low from the look below outside of our balance for rotations back up, just like you look for the rotation for our lower high for the rotation back through balance, right? That's your opportunity. We know exactly where things are supposed to be able to happen, right? Yeah, sure. But like give yourself a risk, play around said risk, identify the range, right? And then play through. You're playing off of your edges, we know what's supposed to happen in set edges for the continuation. If that fails, then we look for the higher low and the rotation up. Like, don't make this harder than it needs to be. We know where sell side should be if it's going to go down. What we're doing right now is because we punished these sellers into our lows, and now we have secondary buyers who are actually trying to attempt. I would say take off a little bit more here, but that we should be aiming for a breach of 260s if we can now hold here and flag. We'll look for a breach of our highs, and then we'll get follow through. As of right now, like still respected as a range trade with a failure here if we can't take out these guys. But understand like with that failure at our lows and the recovery of our PVZ, right? We now can look for a potential move higher. We shall see. But like always like understand our edge plays. Like if our offer tries to stick here again at 30, I'll give you another opportunity with then playing off of this as your high. But I'd rather try to stay in my long off of our lows because our risk to reward is better there. But we'll see. I'd much rather stop out of my runner on my long side with this guy down here than look for this full rotation here again. But I mean, either one works play-wise. I want to see us hold, ideally, this value edge and then continue up, taking out these highs. So I'm going to hold my long runner rather than try a short here again, personally. Stop 210. You might like stop right where we bounce. I don't know. We'll see. It's choppy. It's top of range. Just being runners. See if we can flip it or if offer sustains. Right now you have a short idea playing off of this high. As long as that's maintaining, then rotations down to at least 210 makes sense. Very clear risk to reward with full rotation being like this. But again, I'm holding a runner for a potential pop out of here from our lows. We'll see what happens. I'm totally fine being stopped out of here, break even. We've already taken, 90% of our contracts off. 230 offer holding again, holding our value of our previous candle, however. Watching to see if we can maintain. Same thing on ES, value high of our previous candle holding. Just stuck between value high of previous candle and VWAP of our 15-minute. Very choppy structure up here while we try to flip our balance high. See what happens. Again, for anything real, we need to see a sustained bid over 260, or it just is going to be our sell still. If we can get over 260, should be able to rotate up to 300 pretty freely. But if 260 continues to maintain and then we push back below 230, balance is still balancing, and we're still in a sell trend down with no confirmation or flip of VWAPs, right? Still very like, sorry, flip of VWAP or any sort of like right side of V structure. It's just a rectangle that we're trading in. Again, I'm fully willing to let this trade go back down to break even. If you are unwilling to do that, then take your risk off in the high, right? Like 230 offer is holding right now. There's no invalidation of our top of balance. I'm watching to see if we find a reactive bid here as we push down into 200, 210 though, for a higher low. If you are unwilling to let this trade go back to break even, then feel free to exit. Do you. I'm personally watching to see if we can create a higher low here, like we have on screen, as we push into our value low edge. Oh, what the hell?